Hello you two, and welcome back to the Twits. Today we are going to be reading chapters 17, 18, and 19. Chapter 17, The Great Upside Down Monkey Circus. Now for the monkeys. The 4 monkeys in the cage in the garden were all one family. They were Mugglewump and his wife, and their 2 small children. But what on earth were Mr. and Mrs. Twit doing with monkeys in their garden? Well, in the old days, they had both worked in a circus as monkey trainers. They used to teach monkeys to do tricks and to dress up in human clothes and to smoke pipes and all the rest of that nonsense. First question. Sorry, guys. What is Daddy Monkey's name? Today, although they were retired, Mr. Twit still wanted to train the monkeys. It was his dream that one day he would own the first great upside-down monkey circus in the world. That meant that the monkeys had to do everything upside down. They had to dance upside down, on their hands with their feet in the air. They had to play football upside down. They had to balance one on top of the other upside down, with Mugglewump at the bottom and the smallest baby monkey at the very top. They even had to eat and drink upside down, and that is not an easy thing to do, because the food and water has to go up your throat instead of down it. In fact, it is almost impossible, but the monkeys simply had to do it, otherwise they got nothing. All this sounds pretty silly to you and me. It sounded pretty silly to the monkeys too. They absolutely hated having to do this upside-down nonsense day after day. It made them giddy standing on their heads for hours on end. Sometimes the 2 small monkey children would faint with so much blood going into their heads. But Mr. Twit didn't care. About that. He kept them practicing for 6 hours every day, and if they didn't do as they were told, Mrs. Twit would soon come running with her beastly stick. What did Mrs. Twit do if the monkeys didn't listen to Mr. Twit? What do you think she did with her stick? Pause the video and write your answer. Chapter 18. I'm going to move myself so you can see the book. Chapter 18, The Roly-Poly Bird to the Rescue. Mugglewump and his family longed to escape from the cage in Mr. Twit's garden and go back to the African jungle from where they came. They hated Mr. and Mrs. Twit for making their lives so miserable. They also hated them for what they did to the birds every Tuesday and Wednesday. Remember, what did Mr. Twit do to the birds on Tuesdays and Wednesdays? "Fly away, birds," they used to shout, jumping about in the cage and waving their arms. "Don't sit on the big dead tree. It's just been smeared all over with sticky glue. Go and sit somewhere else." But these were English birds, and they couldn't understand the weird African language the monkeys spoke. So they took no notice and went on using the big dead tree and getting caught for Mrs. Twit's bird pie. Then one day, a truly magnificent bird flew down out of the sky and landed on the monkey cage. True or false? The monkeys came from America. What does it say in the text? Find the bit where it talks about where the monkeys came from. Okay, pause your video and write your answer. Next question. Why didn't the birds listen to the monkeys? Pause your video to write your answer. Good heavens! Cried all the monkeys together. It's the roly-poly bird. What on earth are you doing over here in England, roly-poly bird? Like the monkeys, the roly-poly bird came from Africa and spoke the same language they did. I've come for a holiday, said the roly-poly bird. I like to travel. He fluffed his marvellous coloured feathers and looked down rather grandly at the monkeys. For most people, he went on, flying away on holiday is very expensive, but I can fly anywhere in the world for nothing. Do you know how to talk to these English birds? Mugglewump asked him. Of course I do, said the roly-poly bird. It's no good going to a country and not knowing the language. Then we must hurry, said Mugglewump. Today is Tuesday, and over there you can already see the revolting Mr. Twit up the ladder painting sticky glue on all the branches of the big dead tree. This evening, when the birds come in to roost, you must warn them not to perch on that tree, or they will be made into bird pie. That evening, the roly-poly bird flew round and around the big dead tree, singing out, There's sticky stuff all over the tree. If you land on the branches, you'll never be free. So fly away, stay up high, or you'll finish up tomorrow in hot bird pie. What adjective did Mugglewump use to describe Mr. Twit? Pause the video so you can scan the text for the adjective and then write your answer. Chapter 19. No bird pie for Mr. Twit. The next morning, when Mr. Twit came out with his huge basket to snatch all the birds from the big dead tree, there wasn't a single one on it. They were all sitting on top of the monkey cage. The roly-poly bird was there as well, and Mugglewump and his family were inside the cage, and the whole lot of them were laughing at Mr. Twit. To be continued. Next time we are going to read chapter 20, 21, and 22. Bye everyone.